Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we are back again, and I hope every single one of you are doing well. But we're here to talk about a disturbing case that took place in Spain last year. In fact, this took place shortly after Jay Slater's body was found in Tenerife. Here we have Brett Dryden, a 35-year-old who was found dead last July in Spain. His close friends have actually told the police that they believe he was violently murdered. However, the police have put his death down as natural causes. To be more precise, they claim that he died from blood clots in the lungs. According to the post-mortem and the police, there has been no reference to any attack. Again, they're putting this down as blood clots were found in his lungs and that was the cause of death. However, Brett's mum, Sandra, believes for the police to label Brett's death as non-suspicious is extremely questionable and could point towards a wider issue in Spain. Okay, cool. So this report here has been published by The Sun. The title on this one says, Death Riddle, Heartbroken Mum of Brit, 35, mysteriously found dead with head wound in Spain, demands answers amid murder cover-up fears. This right here relates back to the Jay Slater case because there's a number of people who believe that there has been a cover-up, not only from the characters and the friends that have been involved in this case, but also the police. There's a few similarities with this one because not only was this based in Spain, I know Jay Slater was in Tenerife, but it's governed by the same people more or less. Brett Dryden also worked in a cannabis cafe. This is pretty interesting. Let's read through a bit more of this report. Then we've got a few videos that we're going to react to as well. Make sure you hit the like button and do subscribe to the channel if we are newly watching. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers. So tell a friend to tell a friend. If you are already familiar with this story, with Brett Dryden, then please do leave all your comments down below. I need to know exactly what you're thinking. But let's read through this report. Let's see what it's telling us. So it starts off by saying the mum of a Brit who was found dead in Spain is demanding answers over her son's death amid fears he may have been murdered. Heartbroken Sandra Adams believes Brett Dryden, 35, was killed after he was found with a 4-inch gash to his head. So you're telling me Brett had a massive gash to the head, but the post-mortem said that he died from blood clots to the lungs. That's pretty weird and interesting, isn't it? So it goes on to say, cops said Brett died of natural causes despite pleas from Sandra to investigate the case further to reveal what she believes may be the truth. We've heard this before, ladies and gentlemen. It's starting to resemble the Jay Slater case when it comes to this cover-up talk. It says here, Brett was living in a small town in Spain for 5 years while running a legal cannabis club called the Doghouse. He was found dead at home and he had a gashed mark on his head. However, a post-mortem later pinned his passing on blood clots in his lungs. And according to the official report, there has been no reference to any attack. What it's saying here, according to Sandra, she spoke to one of Brett's neighbors in Spain and they claim that whatever's happened is disgusting and they're clearly trying to cover something up. Now, here's where we have the murky and the dark areas of the Guardia Civil and the authorities over in Spain, because Sandra, Brett's mum, demanding answers, asking just normal questions. It says here that she's been trying to speak to the police, but they simply refuse to answer her questions. Now, it does go on to say here that Sandra has planned to hold a protest along with her husband, Brett's stepdad, and dozens of family and friends out in Spain. The only problem they do have is the police have already said they will shut down any potential protests. If they demonstrate any type of protest, it's going to be deemed as illegal. I mean, this is starting to sound extremely questionable if you ask me. Sandra did praise the captain of the local police for showing compassion towards the family, despite a continued sense of unhelpfulness from the majority of officers. The case is still ongoing, with cops yet to comment publicly. The good news for the family is that they have heard from the court that the investigation hasn't been suspended or hasn't been closed. It is still open and this incident remains under investigation. But let's move on to some of the unanswered questions. Now, a number of eerie things happened around Brett's death that clearly point to the involvement of other people. Neighbors told Robert, not too sure who Robert is, they had CCTV footage of 3 men running away from Brett's home on the night he died. Wow. How the hell was that CCTV not been looked into? Sandra also said she received a call from her son's phone hours after medics say he died. That must have been extremely traumatizing. Now you understand why the mum is not giving up and she is demanding answers, because that just makes no sense. If we're going by what the official narrative is telling us and it was just a natural cause of death, then tell me about the CCTV. Tell me about the 3 people running from his apartment. Tell me about the phone call that I had received from his phone after the medics told me my son was dead. It says here, after tracking the mobile, the heartbroken mum found it was being turned on and off and darting from different locations across Spain. Wow. So someone had his phone. Now we're seeing more similarities with this Jay Slater case. Sorry to keep bringing this back to Jay Slater, but the comparisons are needed. The red flags in that case are extremely similar to the red flags in this one. Sandra said she informed cops about what she had found, which made her believe it could have been a murder. However, she said she was told by the police to take a step back. Sounds, again, very, very similar to what was going on with Jay Slater's parents. The fact that they were being left in the dark. No one was telling them what was going on. They never had a translator. They never had a family liaison. They never had someone that was keeping them up to date with what the police were doing. And that makes it a lot easier for the authorities to start painting their own narrative, start covering up things that they want covered, and then they'll give you what they feel they want to give you. It says here Brett's body was allowed to be taken back to Britain where the family conducted an autopsy, but the results were inconclusive. I'm sure you'll agree, you can see the clear similarities with what's going on between the two cases, but this one here with Brett Dryden is extremely questionable. Sandra's not giving up hope. She is seeking justice for her son, Brett. After that phone call and the fact that his phone was pinging in different locations after he had been dead doesn't make any sense. Clearly, someone had his phone. But why would someone have his phone? Why would someone have a phone of a dead person? Why would someone still be continuing to use the phone of a dead person? Unless they were using it because they picked it up secondhand from somewhere. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. This case is definitely mysterious. The mum believes so too, and she's not giving up hope on seeking justice for the death of her son, Brett. A few other content creators, they've been covering this story. Let's check this out.
Hey guys, so I've been covering Brett's case for some time now, and I've been telling you since day one that he was 100% murdered. Like, the evidence available in Brett's case is why it's the case that most sticks out to me as these suspicious deaths in Spain of young men as definitely being a violent death. Now, his family have recently been back over to Mexico to celebrate Brett's birthday and also to spend his birthday asking the officials over there for justice for their son. Now, while over there, the family managed to meet with the judge in Brett's case and ask for the full autopsy report. And while they've been told up to this point that Brett died from a pulmonary embolism, they also found out that he had a lot of other injuries. Now, the list of injuries on the autopsy report for someone who died from an embolism is absolutely extensive. Now, on top of this, the police now admit there was a robbery that day at Brett's home and a violent struggle. And this can be seen, especially from the blood evidence all over the walls throughout the house.
Wow, 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 wow. So something did take place. The CCTV evidence that the person confirmed they had, where they saw people running from Brett's home, is definitely linked to Brett. Why would they want to brush that under the carpet and just get on with life like it never happened?
But yet they still say the official cause of death is of a medical cause and not anything to do with a murder. He had contusions and swelling on the left side of his face. He had an erosion on the side of his cheek. He had hematomas on his eyelids.
Wow. This guy's been tortured, it sounds like.
Injuries to his lips and behind his left ear.
Wow.
Now, in all, there is a massive list of injuries. So how can they still be saying that he died from an embolism? This makes no sense to me at all.
This is not making any sense, and it's a bit of proof that the police love to cover things up over there. But what was the reason for why he was attacked in his home? Was it to deal with drugs? I mean, he worked in a cannabis club, so there's a strong possibility that it could have been linked to drugs. Because again, this sounds extremely similar to what we've been talking about in the Jay Slater case. That is extremely possible that Jay's death could have also been linked to drugs or some form of money laundering. So this is Brett Dryden's sister, Shan. She recently put up a post saying, we are booking flights to fly out to Spain on April the 8th for Brett's birthday on April the 11th. So many April birthdays, aren't there? Everyone's an April baby, including myself. My birthday's in a couple of days. And they're doing a campaign to raise awareness for all young men that go to live in Spain or go on holiday in Spain and are losing their lives whilst they're out there. And there's a list of names that you can mention from young to the elderly. So what Shan's doing is absolutely amazing, and spreading that awareness is really important so no other families, like she says, has to go through this pain.
Just wanted to quickly jump on and let you all know that the family of Brett Dryden have found a criminal lawyer who is willing to take on the case for them. Now, this is going to come at a hefty cost, so I'm just doing this wee video to include the link to Brett's GoFundMe. And again, if you are in the position to make a small donation, please do so. This family really deserve justice. They really deserve to find out what happened to Brett. and that is going to come at a really, really high expense. So if you can donate something, then please do so. If not, continue to share any videos or any content that you see regarding Brett's case. Thank you all for your cooperation with this case and your help, and I trust that you will continue to do so. So yes, I will include that wee link for the GoFundMe, and if you're in a position to donate, please do so.
A massive shout out to Lisa. What I'll do is I'll pin the link to the GoFundMe in the description down below. So if you guys want to support Sandra, Shannon, the Dryden family, then that link is down below and you guys can help them support with Brett's legal fees. I've just quickly flipped over to the GoFundMe. Here it is right here. There's not many content creators, if any, that have been covering this case. It's only Haley Comet that has really brought this one to our attention. So big up Haley. However, in my opinion, this one's just as dark and mysterious as the Jay SLATER case, and I need to know exactly what you guys are thinking. I will try my best to look at more information, try and make sense of that information, and potentially do another video to help bring justice for Brett Dryden. So make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to this channel if we are newly watching, turn your notification bells on so you don't miss out on future videos, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.